Hello, I'm Courtney, what's up? And today I'm going to be doing a super late review on the Kane Chronicles series by Rick Riordan. So I was supposed to do this review in July because that's when I read The Serpent's Shadow. I read this during BOOKTUBE like at the very end, but I went on a mission trip like 2 days after BOOKTUBE ended, and you know, this video just slipped from my mind and I never filmed a review when I got back, and now here I am in March of 2017 finally doing my review on these books. But I wanted to do a review on these books to let you all know that I have read these, okay? I liked them, they were really interesting, there were some really fun parts, and I learned so much about Egyptian mythology because these are focusing on Egyptian mythology. But this is definitely my least favorite Rick Riordan series, not because it's like not Percy Jackson, but like the Egyptian mythology was really complicated and boring sometimes. Plus this book, The Red Pyramid, the first book, was boring in my opinion. Like Carter, Kane, and I were not the best of pals. I read these books at like such odd times. Like I read this like after Blood of Olympus came out back in 2014. So it's literally almost been 3 years since I read this, because I remember when I finished Blood of Olympus, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to read all Rick's books now. So I went and read this, and then a year later, I read this like at the beginning of my freshman year. And then year later, here comes summer 2016, and I finally read this during BOOKTUBE, and I read these year after year. And that was probably a terrible way to read these books, but I've read them now, and now I'm going to talk about them. This series review, by the way, is going to be spoiler-free. I'm not going to go into any spoilers, so if you haven't read these books yet, don't worry. I'm not going to go into any spoilers. I'm just going to talk about, like, my thoughts on them, how I felt about, like, the characters without going into any spoilers. So, let's just get started on this review. So, we have the first book, The Red Pyramid, which this is my least favorite book in the series, but if you have no idea what it's about these two siblings named Carter and Sadie Kane, and their mom has passed away, so Carter is traveling the world with their dad, while Sadie is living with their mom's grandparents in London. And so Carter and their dad come to visit Sadie, and what happens? They go to the British Museum, and then their dad unleashes the Egyptian god Set, who banished him to oblivion and forces the children to flee for their lives. And so Carter and Sadie discover all these things about ancient Egypt and the gods, and all this crazy stuff goes down. I don't remember much from this book because, like I said, I read this 3 years ago. I just remember being like so bored by this sometimes. Like, this book took me, I think, maybe like a month to read, because I mean, this is a big book. I think it's like 500 pages, and it's boring sometimes because, oh, I remember the chapters in these books are so long, and I cannot stand long chapters. I can like make a whole video ranting why I hate long chapters. They're just, I can't with long chapters. But the chapters in this book was just so long, and I hated it every time it went to a Carter point of view. Speaking of Carter Kane, he's one of the main characters in this series, and I did not like him at all in this book because he was just so boring. Like, I feel like the main reason why I didn't really like him was because he just wasn't out of his shell. Like, he really wasn't being himself. He was just being so quiet and afraid and wasn't taking risks, and that's why I love him as the series goes on, because he starts to open up and take these risks, and I'm just like, Carter, look at you go. I'm so proud. But Carter's younger sister, though, Sadie, that is my homie right there. I loved her throughout the whole entire series. I thought she was great, and she just like grew throughout these books, and I was just like so proud. And I love her. She was so funny. Like, I just remember while reading this, I would love it every time I went to like a Sadie chapter, because the Sadie chapters were the best. Plus, she's British, and I just love her like British slang, and she was great. She's so funny. She's like the Leo Valdez of this series, honestly, in my opinion at least. I really liked the relationship that Carter and Sadie build throughout this whole entire series, because I mean, in these books, they don't really like see each other that often, so it's kind of awkward when they do see each other, but they grow to be like so close, and I just love the bond they have, and I never want them to lose it because like, they're precious. I love their relationship. They're like such cute, nerdy siblings, and I love them. Then we have the sequel, The Throne of Fire, which I read back in 2015. I remember a little bit more from this. I specifically like remember this scene on the cover. This was definitely better than the Red Pyramid. I remember like enjoying this because this was when like Carter like started to be himself and take risks, and he was like opening himself up, and I was just like, you go, Carter. I'm so proud of you. And then Sadie was great as usual, and she was being all cute with Walt, but then there was also that god. I can't remember his name right now, but that situation was so complicated. I can't go into spoilers because like I'm trying to let this be a spoiler-free review here. But this book was great. This is a fantastic sequel. It's not like the best sequel ever. Like, it's not my favorite sequel, but like, it's a good sequel, okay? And then the third book's even better, but talking about the sequel, I remember this scene on the cover, and then I remember what happened to Zia, and I remember like Carter and Bess, you know, their little short friend with like the gold leg. I don't remember what Bess was, but Bess was great. I love how he could like scare people because he was like ugly. Oh, I felt so bad for him. But this was a very good sequel. I don't know what to talk about. See, this is why I don't do spoiler-free reviews, because they're so hard, because I want to spoil all the things, but I can't really spoil all the things since I like don't remember anything. But this is a really good sequel, okay? Like, if you didn't enjoy this that much, like, please give this book a shot, because it is good, okay? And then we have the last book, The Serpent's Shadow, which I adored. I read this so fast. I remember being so surprised at how quickly I was reading it. I was like, wow, I'm actually reading a book fast for a change. This final book was just so action-packed. Like, things were flying left or right. Like, when you open the book, it's just bam! Like, stuff starts happening, and it's like the last Olympian Egyptian edition. Now, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I mean, everything's going downhill, but this is good. I'm enjoying this, though. The thing I liked about this book, though, was, like, I was intrigued. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what's gonna happen next? And I was, like, freaking out every 5 seconds. Like, I remember, like, the scene on the boat, and something happened. I think they got attacked, and it was bad. But it was awesome, because it was, like, such an awesome action scene. These books have some really good action scenes. I specifically remember this, like, one scene with Carter and Zia, but I can't say what it is, because, like, spoiler-free review here, but it was so cute. I loved Carter and Zia in this book. Oh my gosh, all my dreams were coming true. I remember the end with them. Oh my gosh, it was adorable. And then what happened with Sadie and her love life. Oh, it was so good. The end of this book was so good. But the thing I love most about all of these books is how diverse they are. Like, diversity is very important in our society, and it needs to be shown in the literature we read and the TV shows and movies that we watch. And Rick shows that in these books, and I hated that these books are so underappreciated, because these are so diverse. Like, the group of characters come from different worlds and different cultures, and there's just full of diversity in these, and I love that, because diversity is super important, and that's also why I love Magnus Chase as well, because that's super diverse. Like, this series is so underappreciated, and it needs to be appreciated more. But that, my friends, were my spoiler-free mini reviews on the Kane Chronicles. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm so sorry that this video was super late. I know that people have commented before, if I've read the final book, or if I've read the Kane Chronicles. I'm like, yeah, I have. I just never filmed reviews on them. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm Courtney, and I'll see y'all next time with a new video up soon. So I will see you then, so bye! Yow!